drivers swerving in and out of express lanes are bringing in tons of money for the state. So the state's expanding where they can give fines.
It is dangerous because of the speed.
The state health department has a data problem that's bled into a reputation problem. Now it's trying to re-earn trust after two chemists messed with results. We've got one last chance to help Coloradans this year. This week, you could help kids in foster care live a better life.
I never dreamed I would be able to still be playing at this stage.
She's played on some of Colorado's biggest stages. After 60 years of performing, a musician prepares for her final show. And a family decks their halls for Christmas.
The world needs more happiness, needs more joy.
Get warm and cozy, the holidays aren't over. Tonight on Next. Colorado drivers gave the state a big Christmas present this year. People paid tens of millions of dollars in fines over the years because they couldn't follow the rules in express lanes. Soon there'll be more places where weaving in and out of the toll lane will cost you. Here's Evan Krugel.
Ah, the feeling of the open road, flying past traffic in the express lane until someone cuts over in front of you, nearly causing a crash.
So that is a very dangerous scenario. That could cause a collision if one vehicle does not see the other.
Trooper Gabriel Molter says that's why State Patrol and CDOT are cracking down on so-called lane weavers by increasing the amount of roads where cameras capture people merging illegally and send fines in the mail.
If they decide to disregard the law because they think nobody is looking, they will still get those penalties in the mail.
Over a 9-month stretch beginning last fall, CDOT handed out more than $40 million in express lane fines on C-470, I-70 in the mountains, and I-25 north of Denver. And beginning January 1st, they'll start sending out tickets here on US 36 and on the Central 70 and I-25 gap corridors. Those cameras handed out nearly 24,000 warnings, totaling about 1,400 every single day from December 1st through the 17th.
The lines are clearly painted. You are able to see them on the road. And with those signs, you should know the consequences that can come from your action.
Some drivers say those markings can be a bit confusing. So let's simplify it. A double solid line means you can't cross in or out of the express lane until you see one of these.
Here we go.
A dashed lane on your side of the road. Here, it's safe to merge out of the express lane, and here,
This looks good.
it's safe to merge back in.
You have to have those dashes on your side of the road.
Trooper Molter hopes the extra enforcement will make drivers think twice about hopping in or out of the express lane in dangerous areas, and says the decision could save you more than just a few bucks.
Not only can it save you that fine, but it may also prevent that crash where you may be injured.
Now, those tickets will start at $75 and go up to $150 if they're not paid within 20 days. Again, this all starts on January 1st, so next Wednesday, at which point CDOT says every tolled express lane in the state will be outfitted with this new technology.
That's a lot of tickets.
It's a lot of tickets that are disputed as well. There's certain situations like you come up behind an emergency vehicle or a stopped car where you need to get out of those lanes. Oftentimes those cameras are still ticketing people for those. You can dispute those claims, however. It'll be the same website where all those previous disputes have been filed.
Because you could make the argument, oh, somebody stopped in that lane, I need to
to
swerve out. In theory, you would still get a ticket for it. There is a way to dispute it, though.
And worth noting, a lot of these disputes, most of these disputes are not honored. So if you choose to go that route, good luck.
Probably still don't have to pay it.
Yeah,
Evan
probably.
Krugel, thank you.
You bet.
A lawsuit filed by a former principal who sued Denver Public Schools after it fired him for speaking out about school safety is moving forward. A judge ruled against the district's motion to dismiss the case. The district fired Kurt Dennis, the former McCullough Middle School principal, back in August of 2023. He sued the district, Superintendent Dr. Alex Marrero, and the school board members, saying that they illegally fired him. Dennis says the district retaliated against him after he spoke to 9 News about the district's safety policies following 2 shootings at East High School. He criticized DPS's policy that employees had to do weapons pat-downs of students charged in violent crimes. The district said Dennis violated student privacy. The judge's ruling means that the lawsuit will now move on to depositions. The state health department admits that it has a trust problem that it created. This week, CDPHE announced it put a second chemist on leave for manipulated water quality control data. The state discovered the problem while investigating the first chemist who manipulated data for testing metals in drinking water. So part of the problem is the data, but the other part is the state's transparency. CDPHE realized there was a problem with the first chemist last December. The state didn't inform the feds until April, several months later, and didn't tell impacted water systems until August or October. The public didn't even find out about it until 9 News Investigates started asking questions last month. And now there's an issue with a second chemist. The medical director for CDPHE says they're looking into why this happened.
We are doing on-site meetings with the different laboratory units, talking to the quality control folks that are assigned to those specific laboratories, and working through the issues of, could there be other problems? Are there problems with culture? Once we understand that there's not an imminent public health risk, now the issue is, how do we reestablish that trust going forward?
The EPA has pulled testing certification for the water quality lab, and the state has paused water testing at the state lab. That first chemist was placed on leave, then retired. The state suspended the second chemist, who is still on leave today. I want to quickly mention something that you may have missed over the holiday. Election denier and convicted felon Tina Peters got one of her convictions overturned. Not the big one, though. Colorado's Court of Appeals, the state's second highest court, tossed the former Mesa County clerk's contempt conviction. This was mostly a slap on the wrist that ended with a $1,500 fine. It stems from a 2022 court hearing where employees of the DA's office say that they saw Tina Peters recording the hearing on her iPad and then she lied about it. The Court of Appeals overturned the conviction, saying the court did not find Peters knew about the order banning recordings. So that means she won't have to pay the fine. She is still serving a 9-year sentence for the breach in the county election systems. Well, this week we have a chance to continue to help kids in Colorado grow up in safe places. Here's Kyle with a look at this week's Word of Thanks campaign, helping the Kemp Foundation.
Hope you had a wonderful holiday with your family. And I hope that you might consider joining me and a bunch of other Next viewers in doing something for kids in foster families around Colorado. This week's Word of Thanks microgiving campaign supports Kemp's Kicks Clinic. It's a pediatric care clinic in conjunction with Children's Hospital, and they work with only kids who are in foster care settings around Colorado. Each family is seen by not only a pediatrician, but also a psychologist. They attend to all of the family's various needs. And because biologic families in Colorado retain medical decision-making power, they have to kind of weave back and forth between biologic families and foster or kinship families to make sure that everybody's on the same page and everybody is comfortable with the kids' care. And they go beyond just medical care to see what other needs the family might have. Is it diapers? Is it toys? Is it sound machines for the older kids? Is it backpacks or furnishing for their rooms? They try to care for the whole child, the whole family, with a trauma-informed model that's really doing good. If you'd like to join me in supporting their work, scan the QR code on your screen or text the word thanks to 303-871-1491. As always, I'll match the first 50 people giving $5 to get the ball rolling. And more than 3,700 of you have signed up to simplify your giving through a monthly donation to the Word of Thanks Fund. And that has meant that we've been able to start each of your recent weekly microgiving campaigns with about $25,000 worth of donations. You can use that same QR code or link to get there.
It's been an incredible joy and privilege for me to be in this orchestra for so long, and I'm very grateful.
She has spent decades perfecting her craft and teaching the next generation. Now a cellist is handing up her bow. And their work takes time and coordination and enough ornaments to decorate dozens of trees. We're getting a tour next. We're used to white Christmases in Colorado, but Corey Reppenhagen, yesterday we saw more of a wet Christmas down in the Denver metro area and parts of the foothills.
Yeah, it was really strange to hear the sound of the rain on Christmas night, but it was beneficial rain at least, so that's one good thing. They have snow in the mountains that will continue It may feel kind of like a continuous storm all the way into Saturday morning as these winter weather alerts go all the way till about 6 or 7 a.m. The advisories and the winter storm warning to the north. These totals aren't huge for a 48-hour event, but they will be significant at times on at least mountain travel is concerned over the next couple of days. Down here in the Denver metro area, we won't feel too much of that. We'll have a very similar day tomorrow like we had today. Some cloud cover, temperatures maybe barely making it to 50 degrees. So very similar day tomorrow, but then we have a very warm weekend in store with temperatures in the 50s and possibly even a 60-degree temperature on Sunday. New Year's Eve looks like it could be cold in the 20s with a possible snow flurry on New Year's Eve. And the first day of 2025 looks like it's going to start out kind of on the chilly side with a high temperature of 40 degrees.
For most people, retirement comes well before the age of 83. And tonight's storytellers are Ann Herbst spends a little time with a cellist who has spent decades perfecting her craft and is only now just coming around to the idea of moving on.
A life filled with music is pitch perfect. Most of the time.
Okay, you're a little flat.
Margaret Hepner knows a missed note or two is bound to happen when teaching cello.
Yeah, and you gotta be bold, okay?
But Margaret is more in tune with the benefits.
I like the people. That's the fun thing, is the relationship. A little bit more risk, that would be great.
Hard work.
Your bowing got backwards.
Margaret expects it of her students.
That she is the best person ever.
She expects it from herself as a teacher in her home and as a cellist for the Colorado Symphony.
There's a real camaraderie to that. This is a community for me. I've known many of these people for over 30, 40 years.
Relationships like that are possible because Margaret's been with the symphony for 63 years.
Oh, you look lovely, Danielle. You too.
Those first day jitters still fresh.
I was not quite 20. I think I was a little bit of a newbie. It felt a little scary, but fun. I never dreamed I would be able to still be playing at this stage.
A life she built with fellow musicians.
This is with me and Fred with our cellos.
And her husband, Fred, now passed.
And, yeah, he was in the symphony for 53 years. At the time, people thought that was a long time. 63 plus 53, isn't that 116? Combined, 116. That's kind of nuts, isn't it?
63 years filled with countless notes and sometimes that old feeling.
There are still days I feel a little scared. There's occasionally repertoire comes across and I'm like, oh, it's in the moment, you know.
The memories are meaningful.
And I have a granddaughter turning 21 on Saturday.
Margaret is ready to make some new ones.
Well, at the end of this year, I'm leaving the orchestra. It seems like it's time after 63 years. Leaving the orchestra as a musician will be a very interesting transition for me. I'm trying to mentally prepare for it. I'm not sure how great a job I'm doing.
Margaret does know something. She can't wait to be the best audience member ever.
Well, hopefully a very loud one.
When she says goodbye to all this, the music won't stop.
And that's a little longer note.
She's just taught me patience, I think.
Da-da-dee.
Just how passion can just drive you to just do things.
Margaret will teach the next generation of cellists.
Oh, I'd love to play cello until, I don't know, your age, which I will not ask about.
Maybe one of them will chase her 63-year streak.
It's been my life's work and I love it.
Ann Herbst.
Higher on the D. Yeah, it's better.
9 News.
Just beautiful. Margaret's grand finale with the Colorado Symphony is on New Year's Eve. They've got a show at 6:30 p.m., so Margaret reminds us you still have time to go out and party afterwards. She'll start 2025 unemployed, plans on taking some college classes, golfing, skiing, spending time with her kids and grandkids. Congratulations to her.
People ask me how long it takes, and I says about an hour and a half plus 2 months.
Well, it takes a sense of humor and style to put up this Christmas display, and a whole lot of patience. That's next. Most people put their Christmas decorations outside their house. Then there are families who deck the halls to a whole new level, like the Petersons and Elizabeth. For 25 years now, they've put on an impressive display inside their home. We got a tour today.
Well, there's just a special feeling at the time of the year. People's hearts are a little lighter and they're happier. Hi, I'm Joe Peterson. We live in Elizabeth, Colorado. And this is our Victorian Christmas house. We have around 50 Christmas trees. They have different themes that go with them. In the dining room, we thought that a teacup tree would be interesting. This is the family tree. All of the pictures are pictures of ancestors. This is a palm tree. So this is the 12 Days of Christmas. This is a large Santa Claus tree. This is the John Deere tree, for some reason. This is the Grinch tree, everything Grinch. The Snow White tree. Okay, this is one of my favorite trees. This is the guide tree. This has everything automotive on it. It has your spark plugs and cars and wrenches and everything. So it's definitely a guide tree. We've been doing this for around a little over 25 years, and it is just a sickness that just continues to grow. Each one of us has the ability to influence other people. And if I can do a little bit to influence people, to make them happier or for the good, for the season, the world needs more happiness, needs more joy. We need truly to have peace on earth and goodwill to everyone. And just being a little part of that makes me very happy. There it is.
That was photojournalist Corky Scholl with that story. My question to Mr. Peterson is, where do you keep all that when it's not Christmas season? Petersons typically start taking down those Christmas trees a week after Christmas. It takes them about 3 days. We're back with another look at how you can help kids in Colorado coming up next. Your generosity is always impressive. Every week we see it. And as we end this year, this week, we're focused on helping support kids facing some tough circumstances early in life. Here's Kyle with an update on this week's Word of Things.
I was talking recently with the doctor who runs Kemp's Kicks Clinic. It's for kids in care settings. So basically kids in foster care or kinship care settings around Colorado. And she was telling me that these are kids through no fault of their own who have faced some of the greatest adversity in life. And having a pediatric care clinic where not just their needs are met, but the staff understands their experiences, their unique challenges, and goes above and beyond to make sure that their physical health is as good as it can be, their mental health is as good as it can be, and navigates back and forth between their biologic families and their foster care families. It's difficult work, but the folks at the Kicks Clinic specialize in it to help kids primarily in Arapahoe County. If you'd like to join me in supporting their work through this week's Word of Thanks microgiving campaign, scan the QR code on your screen or text the word thanks to 303-871-1491 to join me and a bunch of other Coloradans in supporting the great work done by Kemp's Kicks Clinic.
Well, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Holidays to everyone. We appreciate you spending your evenings with us here on Next. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Good night.